Well, I guess that's all there are, Miss Cutler. They're all under the tree.
Thank you, Sarah.
My, I never saw anyone get so many presents. I can hardly wait to see what's in them. When will Mr. Whiteside open them?
Well, Sarah, you see, Christmas is Mr. Whiteside's personal property. He invented it and it belongs to him. First thing tomorrow morning, Mr. Whiteside will open each and every present and there'll be the goddamnedest fuss you ever saw.
My, look who he's got the presents from. Shirley Temple, William Lloyd Phelps, Billy Rose, Ethel Waters, Somerset Maugham. My, I can hardly wait for tomorrow. My, it certainly is wonderful. And Mr. Whiteside's tree is so beautiful, too. Mr. and Mrs. Stanley had to put theirs in the bedroom. You know, they can hardly undress at night.
Hello, Maggie. Merry Christmas, Sarah.
Merry Christmas, Mr. Jefferson.
Say, business is good, isn't it? My, what a little quiet blackmail on the weekly radio hour can get you. What did his sponsors give him?
He gave him a full supply of their product, cream of mush.
Well, I'll give it right back to them over the air.
Wait till you hear tonight's broadcast. It's so sticky, I haven't been able to get it off my fingers since I copied it.
I'll bet. Look, I'll come clean. Under the influence of God knows what, I have just brought you a Christmas present.
Why, Mr. Jefferson, sir.
Only I'd like you to see it before I throw away my hard-earned money. Can you run downtown with me and take a look at it?
Bert, this is very sweet of you. I'm quite touched. What is it? I can't wait.
2 years subscription to pick, click, and look and listen. Say, do you think I'm going to tell you? Come down and see.
All right. Sherry, I'm going out for a few minutes with Horace Greeley. I won't be long.
Noel, Mr. W. How about some cribbage after your broadcast tonight?
No, I will not play cribbage with you, Conway Carey. Where are you off to now, Madam Butterfly?
I'm being given a Christmas present. Anything you want done downtown?
Yes, bring baby a lollipop. What are you giving me for Christmas, Jefferson? I have enriched your feeble life beyond your capacity to repay me.
Yes, that's what I figured. So I'm not giving you anything.
I see. Well, I was going to give you my old trust, but now I shan't. Maggie, what time are those radio men coming?
About 6:30. I'll be here. You've got to cut, Sherry. You're 4 minutes over. Oh, and by the way, he doesn't know what train he can get out of Chicago, but he'll be here sometime this evening.
Good. Is he staying overnight?
No, he has to get right out again. He's sailing Friday on the Queen Mary.
Think I could peek in at the window and get a look at him? Beverly Carlton used to be one of my...
Used to be, you ink-stained cat? Beverly Carlton is the single greatest talent in English theater today. Take this illiterate numbskull out of my sight, Maggie, and don't bring him back.
Yes, Mr. Whiteside, sir. I won't come back until he gets here.
Where are we going, Bert? I want to know what you bought me. I'm like a 10-year-old kid.
You know, you look like a 10-year-old kid right now, Maggie, at that.
Will you give... No, I don't know the number. Hello? Mansion House? Tell me. Has a... Yes, that's right. Miss Lorraine Sheldon. From New York? She hasn't. What do you want, Miss Preen, coming in like that? Why don't you knock before you come into a room?
Again, I was coming out.
Miss Preen, you are obviously in this room. That is true, isn't it?
Yes, it is, but...
Therefore, you came in. Hereafter, please knock.
There are some expressmen here with a crate, Mr. Whiteside. I told them to come around to the front.
Thank you, Sarah. Don't stand there, Miss Custard. Go away.
Yes, sir.
Bring it right in here. Careful there. Don't scrape the walls. Why? Some kind of animals.
I'll say it's animals. We had to feed him at 7 o'clock this morning.
Who's it from, Sarah?
Admiral Richard E. Birdseye.
Bring it over here. Why? They're penguins. 2, 3, 4 penguins. Hello, my pretties.
Directions for feeding are right on top. Those 2 slats are loose.
Fed only whale blubber, eels, and cracked lobster.
They got Coca-Cola this morning and liked it.
Oh, hello, hello. You know, they make the most entrancing companion. Right in the library with me. Take them right in.
Yes, sir.
Better order a couple lobsters.
Yes, sir.
I don't suppose there's any whale blubber in this. Oh, yes, there
Evening.
is.
The door was open, so Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas. Do you happen to know if eels are in season, Doctor?
How's that?
Never mind, I was a fool to ask you.
I opened those 2 slats a little, Mr. Whiteside. They seem to crowded in there.
Thank you, Sarah.
Mr. Whiteside,
Goodbye, Doctor. I'm sorry you happened to drop in now. I have to do my yogi exercises.
but Mr. Whiteside, it's been a week now. My book, when are we going to start work on my book? I was hoping that today, maybe. Good evening, Miss Preen.
Good evening, Dr. Bradley. Doctor, perhaps I'm not well, but when I opened the doors just now, I thought I saw a penguin with a thermometer in his mouth.
What's this? Have those penguins gotten out of their crate?
Penguins? Did you say penguins?
Yes. Doctor, will you go in there and capture them, please, and put them back in the crate? There's 4 of them.
Capture the penguins, yes.
Yes. And Miss Preen, will you entertain them, please, until I come in?
Yes, sir.
The Christmas tree in the bedroom just fell on Mr. Stanley. He's got a big bump on his forehead.
Why, isn't that too bad? Go ahead, Doctor. Go on, Miss Preen.
Hello, Mr. Whiteside.
Hello, Dickie, my boy.
Well, Mr. Whiteside, will you have some time later?
I don't know, Doctor. I'm busy now.
Well, suppose I wait a little while. I'll wait a little while.
Dr. Bradley is the single greatest living argument for mercy killings. Well, Dickie, would you like a candid camera shot of my left nostril this evening?
I'm all stocked up upon those. Have you got a minute to look at some new ones I've taken?
I certainly have. Why, these are splendid. Richard, there's real artistry in them. They're as good as anything by Margaret Bourke White. I like all of the things you showed me. This is the essence of photographic journalism.
Say, I didn't know they were that good. I just like to take pictures, that's all.
Richard, I've been meaning to talk to you about this. You're not just a kid fooling around with a camera anymore. These are good. This is what you ought to do. You ought to get out there and just do the things you were telling me about. Just get on a boat and get off wherever it stops. Galveston, Mexico, Singapore. Work your way through and just take pictures. Millions of them. Terrible pictures, wonderful pictures, everything.
If I could do that, I think I'd be the happiest guy in the world.
Well, why can't you do it? If I were your age, I'd do it like a shot.
Well, you know why. Dad.
Richard, do you really want to do this more than anything else in the world?
I certainly do.
Then do it.
Hello, Dick. Good afternoon, Mr. Whiteside.
Hello, my lovely. So, I'm afraid it's up to you, Richard.
I guess it is. Well, thank you, Mr. Whiteside. You've been swell. I'll never forget it.
Righto, Richard.
June, are you coming upstairs?
In a few minutes, Richard.
Okay, well, knock on my door, will you? I want to talk to you.
Yes, Whiteside.
June, my lamb, were you too young to know about the Elwell murder, weren't you? Completely fascinating. About 5 famous murders, and the Elwell case is one of them. Would you like to hear about it?
Well, Mr. White, I wanted to talk to you. Would you mind for a few minutes? It's important.
Certainly, my dear. The factory?
Yes, I just can't seem to make Father understand. It's like talking to a blank wall. You won't meet him, he won't even talk about it. What are we going to do, Mr. Whiteside? Sandy and I love each other. I don't know where to turn.
My dear, I'd like to meet this young man. I'd like to see him for myself.
Would you, Mr. Whiteside? Would you meet him? He's outside now. He's in the kitchen.
Good. Bring him in.
Mr. Whiteside, he's a very sensitive boy.
When will you learn that I'm always kind and courteous? Bring this idiot in.
Sandy. Here he is, Mr. Whiteside. This is Sandy.
How do you do, sir?
How do you do? Young man, I've been hearing a good deal about you from June this past week. It seems, as if I've been correctly informed, that you two babes in the wood have gone quietly out of your minds.
There's another name for it. It's called love.
Well, you've come to the right place. Dr. Sheridan Whiteside, Broken Hearts Mended, Breakthrough Lined, Hamburgers. Go right ahead.
Well, June has told you anything at all, Mr. Whiteside. You know the jam we're in. You see, I work for the labor union, Mr. Whiteside. I'm an organizer. I've been organizing the men in Mr. Stanley's factory, and Mr. Stanley's pretty sore about it.
I'll bet. Yes, she did.
Well, that being the case, Mr. Whiteside, I don't think I have the right to try to influence break with her family, and I don't like to bring that about. But the trouble is Mr. Stanley's so stubborn about it, so arbitrary, you know? This is not something I've done just to spite him. We fell in love with each other, but Mr. saw a big plot. John L. Lewis sent me here just to marry his daughter.
He's tried to fire Sandy twice out at the factory, but couldn't on account of the Wagner Act. Thank God.
Yes, he thinks I wrote that too.
If he'd only let me talk to him. If he'd let Sandy talk to him.
Well, we've gone over all that, June. Anyway, this morning I got word I'm needed in Chicago. I may have to go on to Frisco from there, so you see the jam we're in.
Sandy's leaving tonight, Mr. Whiteside. He'll probably be gone a year. We've simply got to decide. Now.
My dear, it's no problem at all. Now, to my jaundiced eye. Oh! Hello? Yes. Yes, this is Whiteside. Excuse me, it's a transit call. Yes? Yes, I'm on. Who's calling? Oh, put him on. Hello, Walt? How's my little dash of genius? Yes, I hoped you would. How do you know I was here? I see. Yes. Yes, I'm listening. Now? 10 seconds more? Mr. Disney calls me every Christmas. Yes, Walt. Yes, I hear it. It sounds just like static. June. Hello? Tell me, is there any news in Hollywood? Who's in Lana Turner's sweater these days? I see. Well, goodbye. And don't worry about Fantasia. It wasn't your fault. Beethoven hasn't written a hit in years. Goodbye. You know what that was you just listened to? The voice of Donald Duck.
Not really.
Mr. Disney calls me every Christmas, no matter where I am, so that I can hear it. 2 years ago, I was on the bottom of the ocean in a diving suit with William B. Got me. Now, where were we? Oh yes, June. I like your young man. I have an unerring instinct about people. I've never been wrong. That's why I wanted to meet him. My feeling is that you two will be very happy together. Whatever his beliefs are, he's entitled to them, and you shouldn't let anything stand in your way. As I see it, it's no problem at all. Stripped of its externals, what does it come down to? Your father. The possibility of him unhappy. Is that right?
Very unhappy.
That isn't the point. Suppose your parents are unhappy. It's good for them. Develops. I left home at the age of 4 and haven't been back since. They hear me on the radio, and that's good enough for them.
Then your advice is to go ahead, Mr. Whiteside?
It is. Marry him tonight, June.
You mean that, Mr.
No, I mean you should marry Hamilton Fish. If I didn't mean it, why wouldn't I say it? What do you want me to do? Say it all over again? My own opinion is that you're not worthy of this young man.
Come on, Daisy, stop dawdling.
There's Dad.
Forgive us for trespassing, Mr. Whiteside.
Old fellow, not at all. It's Christmas, you know. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Ah, yes. Merry Christmas. Would you like to come along with us, June? We're taking some presents over to the Dexters.
No, thank you, Mother. I have to write some letters.
Come along, Daisy.
Why, Mr. Stanley, what happened to your forehead? Did you have an accident?
No, Mr. Whiteside. I'm taking boxing lessons. Go ahead.
Dear Mr. Whiteside, I've been trying all day to see you, to give you this.
Why, Miss Stanley, a Christmas gift for me?
Why, it's only a trifle, but I wanted you to have it. It's a picture of me as I used to be. It was taken on another Christmas Eve, many years ago. Don't open it till the stroke of midnight, will you? Merry Christmas, dear Mr. Whiteside. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you, Miss Stanley, and thank you.
This is the Stanley residence, isn't it? I've come to see Miss Sheldon is here.
Lorraine, my blossom girl.
Sherry, my sweet. Oh, darling, look at that poor, sweet, tortured face. Let me kiss it. You poor darling, how drawn you are. Sherry, my sweet, I want to cry.
All right, now relax.
But Sherry, darling, I've been so worried. And now seeing you in that chair.
This fits my fanny as nothing else ever has. I feel better than I have in years, and my only concern is news of the outside world. So take that skunk off and tell me everything. How are you, my dear?
Darling, I'm so relieved. You look perfectly wonderful. I never saw you look better. My dear, do I look a wreck? I just dashed through New York, didn't do a thing about Christmas. Had to get Carnegie and had my hair done and got right on the train. And the Normandy coming back was simply hectic. Fun, you know, but simply exhausting. Whitney and Cary Grant and Dorothy DeFrasso, it was too exhausting. And of course, London before that was so magnificent, my dear. Well, I simply never got to bed at all. Darling, I've so much to tell you, I don't know where to start.
Well, start with the dirt first, dear. That's what I want to hear.
Let me see. Sybil Cartwright was thrown right at it. It was the night before I left. She was wearing one of those new cellophane dresses, and you could absolutely see Trafalgar Square. And Sir Harry Montross, the painter, you know, is suing his mother for disorderly conduct. It just shocks everyone. And oh, before I forget, Anthony Eden told me he's going to be on your New Year's broadcast, Sherry, and Beatrice Lilly gave me a message for you. She says for you to take off 25 pounds right away and send them to her by parcel post. She needs them.
I'll pack them in ice. Now come, dear. What about you? What about your love life? I don't believe for one moment you never got to better the expression.
Sherry, dear, you're dreadful.
What about that splendid bit of English mutton, Lord Bottomley? Have you hooked him yet?
Sherry, please. Cedric is a very dear friend of mine.
Now, Blossom Girl, this is Sherry. Don't try to build a bedclothes over my eyes. Don't tell me you wouldn't like to be Lady Bottomley with 100,000 pounds a year and 12 castles. By the way, has he fixed yet? Every time I order Roquefort cheese, I think of those teeth.
Sherry, really. Cedric may not be brilliant, but he's rather sweet, poor lamb, and he's very fond of me. And he does represent a kind of English way of living that I like. For the season, shooting box in Scotland, that lovely old castle in Wales. You were there, Sherry. You know what I mean.
I do.
Well, really, Sherry, why not? If I can marry Cedric, I don't know why I shouldn't. Shall I tell you? I think from something he said just before I sailed that he's finally coming around to it. It was indefinite, mind you, but suddenly before very long.
Lady Bottomley. Won't Kansas City be surprised? However, I shall be a flower girl and give the groom an iron toothpick as a wedding present. Come ahead, my blossom. Let's hear more of your skulldug.
Well,
Mr. Whiteside.
What? No, not now. I'm busy.
Who's
He's
that?
fixing the plumbing. Now, come on. I want some news.
But Sherry, what about this play? After all, it's come all the way from New York. Even on Christmas Eve. I've been so excited ever since your phone call. Where is it? When can I read it?
Well, here's the situation. This young author, his name is Bert Jefferson, brought me the play with the understanding that I send it to Kit Cornell. It's a magnificent part, and God knows that I feel disloyal to Kit.
Sherry.
Anyhow, there you are. Now I've done this much, and the rest is up to you. He's young and attractive. Now, just how you go about persuading him, I'm sure you know more about than I do.
Sherry, how can I ever thank you? Does he know I'm coming? Mr. Jefferson, I mean?
No, not yet. You're just out here, but you'll meet him, and that's that. Get him to take you to dinner and work things around to the play. Good God, I don't have to tell you how to do these things. How did you get all those other parts?
Sherry. Well, I'll go back to that being more attractive. I just dumped my bags here and rushed right over here. Darling, you're wonderful.
All right, now run along and get into your working clothes. Then come back here and spend Christmas Eve with Sherry, and I'll have Mr. Jefferson on tap. By the way, I've got a little surprise for you. Who do you think's paying me a flying visit tonight? None other than your old friend and co-star, Beverly Carlton.
I thought he was being glamorous again on a tramp steamer.
Come, dear. Mustn't be better because he got better notices than you did.
Don't be silly, Sherry. I never read the notices. I simply wouldn't care to act with him again, that's all. He's not staying here, is he? I hope not.
Temper. Where'd you get that diamond clip, dear? That's a new bit of loot, isn't it?
Haven't you seen this before? Cedric gave it to me for his mother. Look, darling, if I've got a taxi outside, if I'm going to get back here.
Sherry, what do you think? I've just been given the most beautiful...
Oh, I knew you must be around here somewhere. How are you, my dear?
Santa's been at work, my pet. Dropped in out of the blue and surprised us.
Hello, Lorraine.
Who's that? Bert? Come in, Bert. This is Mr. Bert Jefferson, Lorraine. Young newspaper man, Miss Lorraine Sheldon.
How do you do, Miss Sheldon?
How do you do? I didn't quite catch the name. Mr. Jefferson?
That's right, Pat.
Why, Mr. Jefferson, you don't look like a newspaper man. You don't look like a newspaper man at all.
Really? I thought it was written all over me in neon lights.
Oh, no, not at all. I don't know, an aviator or explorer or something. They have that same kind of dash about them. I'm simply enchanted with your town, Miss Jefferson. It gives one such a warm, gracious feeling. Tell me, have you lived here your whole life?
Practically.
If you wish to hear the story of Miss Lorraine, kindly do so on your own time. Maggie and I have work to do. Get out of here, Jefferson. On your way, Blossom. On your way.
He's the world's rudest man, isn't he? Can I drop you, Mr. Jefferson? I'm going down, it's called.
Thank you, but I've got my car. Suppose I drop you?
Oh, would you? That'd be lovely. We'll send the taxi right off. See you in a little while, Sherry. Bye, Maggie.
Bye, Maggie. I'm invited back for dinner, am I not?
Yes, you are. At Christmas, I always feed the needy. Now, please stop oozing out. Get out.
Come on, Mr. Jefferson. I want to hear more about this charming little town. And I want to know a good deal about you, too.
Now, let's see. Is there a copy of that broadcast here? How much did you say they wanted out? 4 minutes?
That's right, 4 minutes. She's looking very well, isn't she?
What's that? Who?
The Countess D. Pushover. Quite a surprise, wasn't it, her dropping in?
Yes, it was. Now, come on, Maggie. Come on. Get to work. Get to work.
Why, she must have gone through New York like a dose of salts. How long is she going to stay?
What? Oh, I don't know. A few days? At this joyous season of the year, when hearts have been... I can't cut that.
Isn't it curious? There was Lorraine snug as a bug on someone's bed in the Normandy.
Ere the Yuletide season pass.
Now, Sherry, we will talk a bit.
Now, look here, Maggie. Just because a friend of mine happens to come out and spend Christmas with me? I have a hunch that's Beverly. Maggie, see if it is. Go ahead. Run, run.
A large, moist, incestuous kiss for my magpie.
Come in here, you Piccadilly pen pusher, and gaze upon a soul in agony.
Don't tell me how you are, Sherry dear. I want none of the tiresome details. I have only a little time, so the conversation will be entirely about me, and I shall love it. Shall I tell you how I glittered through the South Seas like a silver scimitar? Or would you rather hear I frolic through Zambezia with the Major General's daughter and finish a 3-act play at the same time? Magpie dear, you are the moonflower of my middle age, and I love you very much. Say something tender to me.
Beverly, darling.
That's my girl. Now then, Sherry dear, without going into mountainous waves of self-pity, how are you?
I'm fine, you presumptuous cockney. Now, how was the trip? Wonderful?
Fabulous. I did a fantastic amount of work. By the way, did I glimpse the little boudoir butterfly, LaShawn, in a motor car as it came up the driveway?
You did indeed. She's paying us a Christmas visit.
Dear girl, they do say she set fire to her mother, but I don't believe it. Sherry, my evil one, not only have I written the finest comedy since Moliere, but also the best review since my last one. But also, an operetta that frightens me, it's so good. She'll play it for 8 weeks in London and 6 in New York. That's all, no matinee. Then I'm off to the Grecian Islands. Magpie, why don't you come along? Why didn't you desert this cannonball and fluff and come with me?
Beverly, dear, be careful. You're catching me at a good moment.
Tell me, Beverly, did you have a good time in Hollywood? How long were you there?
3 unbelievable days. I saw everyone from Adrian to Zenok. They came, poor dears, as to a shrine. I was insufferably charming and ruthlessly firm in refusing $7 million for 3 minutes' work.
What about Banjo? Did you see my wonderful Banjo in Hollywood?
I did. He gave a dinner for me. I arrived in white tie and tails to be met at the door by 2 bewildered butlers, who quietly proceeded to take off my trousers. I was then ushered in my lemon soap drawers into a room full of Norma Durer, Claudette Colbert, and Aldous Huxley, among others. Dear, sweet, incomparable Banjo.
I'll never forget that summer at Antby's when Banjo put a microphone in Lorraine's mattress and then played the record the next day at lunch.
I remember that indeed. Lorraine left Antby's by the next boat.
I wish Banjo were here now.
What's the matter, Magpie? Is Lorraine being her own sweet, sick-making self?
You wouldn't take her to the Grecian Islands, would you, Beverly, for me?
Now, Lorraine is a charming person who has gallantly given up her own Christmas to spend it with me.
Oh, I knew I had a bit of dirt for us all to nibble on.
Mr. Whiteside?
No, not now. Go away.
Have you kidnapped someone, Sherry?
Yes, that was Charlie Ross. Go ahead. It's something juicy.
Juicy as a pomegranate. It is the latest report from London on the winter maneuvers of Miss Lorraine Sheldon against the left flank. In fact, all flanks of Lord Cedric Bottomley. Listen, Lorraine has just left Antibes in a cloud of Chanel No. 5. Since September, in a relentless pursuit of his lordship, she has paused only to change girdles and check her oil. She has chased him, passing from castle to castle, till he finally took refuge for several weekends in the gentleman's laboratory of the House of Lords. Practically no one is betting on the Derby this year. We are all making book in Lorraine. She's sailing tomorrow on the Normandy, but would return on the Atlantic Clipper if Bottomley so much as belches in her direction. Have you ever met Lord Bottomley, Magpie dear?
No, I haven't.
Not very good shooting today, blast it. Only 6 partridges, 4 grouse and the Duke of Sutherland. Ha ha!
My God, that's Bottomley to his very bottom.
Ripping debate in the House today. Old Basil spoke for 3 hours, dropped dead at the end of it. Ripping, ha ha!
You're making this up, Beverly. No one sounds like that.
It's so good, it's uncanny. Damn it, Beverly, why must you race out of here? I never see enough of you, you ungrateful muppet.
Sherry, darling, I can only tell you that my love for you is so great and I changed trains at Chicago to spend 10 minutes with you and wish you a Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, my lad, my little magpie.
Beverly.
And now I have just time for one magnificent number. To give you a taste of how brilliant the whole thing is, it's the second number from my new review.
Oh, damn, get rid of them, Maggie.
Hello? Oh, hello, Bert. Oh, well, just a minute. Beverly, would you talk to newspaperman for just 2 minutes? I kind of promised him.
Won't have time, Magpie, unless he's under the piano.
Oh, wait a minute. Would you see him at the station just for a minute before the train goes? Bert, go to the station and wait for him. He'll be there in a few minutes. Bye.
The stalls are impatient, Beverly. Let's have the second-rate masterpiece.
It's called What Am I to Do? Oft in the nightfall, I think I might fall down from my perilous height. Deep in the heart of me, always a part of me, quivering, shivering lights. Run, little lady, ere the shady shafts of time barbed you with their winged desire, singed you with their sultry fire. Softly, a fluid druid meets me, olden and golden, the dawn that greets me. Cherishing, so perishing, up to the stars I climb. What am I to do toward ending this madness, this sadness that's rending me through? The flowers of yesteryear are haunting me, taunting me, darling, for wanting you. What am I to say to warnings of sorrow, when warning's tomorrow drinks the dew? Will I see the cosmic writs shattered and scattered to bits? What not am I to do?
Wonderful, Beverly.
Beverly, it's superb. The best thing you've ever written.
Please, let me say that.
Ah, come in, Westcott.
Ah, the airwaves, eh? Well, I shan't have to hear you. Thank God I shall be on a train.
Miss Westcott, will you go into that room? Sarah will show you where to plug in. Come on, Whiteside, say goodbye.
Right this way, gentlemen.
Stop this nonsense.
Au revoir, Sherry. Merry Christmas.
Beverly, my lamb. Maggie, what the hell are you? I want to talk to Beverly.
You can kiss Beverly in London on July 12th.
I won't be rushed out of this room like a baby who has to have his diapers changed.
Magpie, come get a kiss.
Beverly, I want 1 minute. I must have it. You'll make the train. The station's a minute and a half from here.
Why, what's the matter, Magpie?
I'm just waiting in the kitchen until excuse me.
Who is that man?
Never mind. Beverly, I'm in great trouble.
Magpie dear, what is it?
I've fallen in love.
No.
Yes, for the first time in my life, Beverly, I'm in love. I can't tell you about it. There isn't time, but Sherry's trying to break it up in his own fiendish ways, doing everything he can to break it up.
Why, the old flounder. What's he doing?
Lorraine. He brought Lorraine here to smash it up.
Oh, it's somebody here in this town?
He's a newspaper man, the one you're going to see at the station. And he's written, he must be using that as bait. You know Lorraine, she'll eat him up alive. You've got to help me, Beverly.
Of course I will, Magpie. What do you want me to do?
I got to get Lorraine the way the better, and you can do that for me.
But how? How can I? I'm leaving.
Here's
I love it. I'd absolutely love it. It's simply enchanting. And Mary and Lorraine at the same time. It's pure heaven. I adore it, and I shall do
Darling,
it
your
up.
first baby will be named Beverly. You're wonderful.
Of course I am. Come to Chiswick for your honeymoon, and I'll put you up. Goodbye, my lovely. I adore you. Mercy, let me out of...
He's really wonderful, isn't he, Mr. Whiteside? The things he has time to do.
Yes, he certainly sticks his nose into everything.
Why, Miss June, are you going away?
Why, no, Sarah, no. Mr. Whiteside is in there, I suppose?
Yes, he's getting ready to be on the radio.
Oh, would you? No, never mind. Look, Sarah.
Where is he? In the library?
Yes, he's busy.
Oh, well, maybe we ought to, come on.
Oh, hello, dear. Where's Sherry?
Inside working. He's broadcasting very soon.
Oh, of course. Christmas Eve. What a wonderful man Sheridan Whiteside is. You know, utter joy to be secretary to somebody like Sherry.
Yes, you meet such interesting people. It's quite a gown, Lorraine. Going anywhere?
This? Oh, I just threw on anything at all. Aren't you dressing for dinner?
Oh, just what meets the eye.
Who does your hair, Maggie?
A little French woman named Maggie Cutler comes in every morning.
You know, every time I see you, I keep thinking your hair could be so lovely. I've always wanted to get my hands on it.
I've always wanted to get mine on yours, Lorraine.
What, dear? By the way, what time does Beverly get here? I'm not over anxious to meet him.
He's been and gone, Lorraine.
Really? Well, I'm very glad. Of course, you're great friends, aren't you? You and Beverly?
Yes, I think he's a wonderful person.
Oh, I suppose he is. But really, when I finished acting with him, I was a perfect wreck. All during that tender love scene that the critics thought was so magnificent, he kept dropping peanut shells down my dress. I wouldn't act with him again if I were starving.
Tell me, Lorraine, have you found a new play yet?
No, I haven't. There was a pile of manuscripts waiting for me in New York, but I hurried right out here to Sherry.
Yes, it was wonderful of you, Lorraine, to drop everything that way and rush to Sherry's wheelchair.
Well, after all, Maggie dear, what else has one in this world but friends?
That's what I always say. Everything okay?
Yes, thank you.
How long will Sherry be in there?
Not long. Did you know that Mr. Jefferson has written quite a good play? The young man that drove you to the hotel?
Really? No, I didn't. Isn't that interesting?
Yes, isn't it?
They've put a polish on my nails I simply loathe. I don't suppose Elizabeth Arden has a branch in this town.
Not if she has any sense.
Oh well, I'll just bear it, but it does depress me. Have you read this, Maggie? Everybody was reading it on the boat. I hear you simply can't put it down.
I put it down. Right there. Hello? Yes? Yes? Miss Lorraine Sheldon? Yes, she's here. There's a transatlantic call for you coming through for you, Lorraine.
Transatlantic? For me? Here? Why, what in the world?
It's London.
London? Hello? Hello? Cedric, is this you? Why, Cedric, you darling. Why, what a surprise. How'd you know I was here? What? Darling, don't talk so fast, you won't stutter so. That's better. Yes, now I can hear you. Yes, very clearly. It's as though you were just around the corner. I see. What? Darling? Cedric, dearest, would you wait just one moment? Maggie, would you mind? It's Lord Bottomley. A very personal call. Would you mind?
Not at all.
Yes, my dearest. Now tell me. Cedric, please don't stutter so. Don't be nervous. Oh, my darling. Oh, my sweet. You don't know how I've prayed for this. Every night on the boat. Darling, yes. Yes, 1,000 times yes. I'll take a plane right out of here and catch the next boat. What? Cedric, don't stutter so. Yes, and I love you, my darling. Oh, so much. Oh, my dear sweet, my darlingest darling, yes, yes, I will, darling. I'll be thinking of you every moment. You've made me the happiest girl in the world. Goodbye, goodbye, darling, goodbye. Sherry, do you know what just happened? Cedric called from London. He's asked me to marry him.
What?
Sherry, think of it. At last, I've got to get right out of here and catch the next boat.
May I come in?
Maggie, dear, can I get a plane out of here right away? I've simply got to get on the next boat to England. When is it? Do you know? Is there a newspaper here?
The Queen Mary sails Friday. What's happened?
Maggie, the most wonderful thing in the world has happened. Lord Bottomley has asked me to marry him. Oh, Maggie.
Really? Well, what do you know?
Isn't it wonderful? I'm so excited I can hardly think. Maggie, dear, you must help me get right out of here.
I'd be delighted to, Lorraine.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Will you look things up right away?
Yes, I have a timetable right here, and don't worry, because if there's no train, I'll drive you to Cleveland. You can catch the train from there.
Maggie, darling, you're wonderful. Sherry, what's the matter with you? You haven't said a word. You haven't even congratulated me.
Let me understand this, Lorraine. Am I to gather from your girlish squeals that you were about to toss your career into the ash can?
Oh, no, not at all. Of course, I may not be able to play this season, but there'll be other seasons, Sherry.
I see. And everything goes into the ash can with it. Isn't that right?
But Sherry, you couldn't expect me to...
Don't explain, Lorraine. I understand only too well. I also understand why Cornell remains the first actress of our theater.
Oh, this is wonderful. We're in luck, Lorraine. There's a plane out of Cleveland at 10:03. It takes about an hour to get there. Well, it all works out wonderfully, doesn't it, Sherry?
Peachy.
Maggie, what's the number of the hotel I'm at? I've got to get my maid started packing.
Miss Elliott 32.
Miss Elliott 32, please. Let's see. I sail Friday, 5-day boat. That means I ought to be in London Wednesday night. Hello? This is Miss Sheldon. That's right. Put me through to my maid, will you?
Oh, look, Sherry, it's starting to snow. Isn't that wonderful, Sherry? I never felt more like Christmas in my life. Don't you, Sherry, dear?
Shut your nasty little face.
Cosette? Now listen carefully, Cosette. We're leaving here tonight by plane and sailing Friday on the Queen Mary. I want you to start packing immediately, and I'll call you in about an hour. Yes, that's right. Now, I want you to send these cables for me. Have you got a pencil? Right? The first one goes to Lord and Lady Cunard. You'll find these addresses in my little book. It's in my dressing case. Lord and Lady Cunard, my darlings, returning Friday, Queen Mary. Cedric and I being married immediately on arrival. Wanted you to be the first to know. Love, Lorraine. Now send, what? Oh, thank you, Cosette. Thank you very much. Now, send the same message to Lord Astor, Lord Beaverbrook, and my mother in Kansas City. Got that? And send a telegram to Hattie Carnegie, New York. Please meet me, Sherry Netherlands, noon tomorrow with sketches of bridal gown trousseau, Lorraine Sheldon. And then send one to Monsieur Pierre Cartier, Cartier's London. Will you hold in reserve for me the triple string of pearls I picked out in October? Cable me, Queen Mary, Lorraine Sheldon. Have you got it out all straight, Cosette? That's fine. Now, you'll have to rush, my dear. I'll be at the hotel in about an hour, so be ready. Goodbye. Thank goodness for Cosette. I'd die without her. She's the most wonderful maid in the world. Well, life really is just full of surprises, isn't it? Who'd have thought an hour ago I'd be on my way to London?
Well, no, certainly would have thought it an hour ago.
Will you both stop this female drooling? I have a violent headache.
Oh, Sherry, can I get you something?
Look here, Sherry, I'm sorry if I've offended you, but after all, my life is my own, and...
Hello, everyone. Say, do you know it's snowing out? We're going to have a real old-fashioned Christmas.
Why don't you telephone your scoop to the New York Times?
Miss Sheldon is to catch a plane tonight from Cleveland. Can we drive her over, you and I?
Why, certainly. Sorry you have to go, Miss Sheldon. No bad news, I hope.
Oh, on the contrary. Very good news. Wonderful news.
Yes, indeed. Calls for a drink, I think. You're not being a very good host, Sherry. How about a bottle of champagne?
Oh, I can do better than that. Let me mix you a Jefferson special, okay, Mr. Whiteside?
Yes. Mix anything. Only stop driveling.
Anybody admired my Christmas present yet, Maggie?
Oh dear, I forgot. Look, everybody, a gift from Bert Jefferson to me.
Oh, it's charming. Let me see it. Oh, why, it's inscribed to Maggie. Long may she wave. Bert. Maggie, it's a lovely Christmas present. Isn't that sweet, Sherry?
Ducky.
I told you it was beautiful, Bert. See?
Well, shows you what you get if you save your coupons.
Well, what's going on between you two, anyhow? Maggie, are you hiding something from us?
Great God, will this drivel never stop? My head is
A
bursting.
Jefferson special will cure anything. By the way, I got a 2-minute interview with Beverly Carlton at the station. You were right, Mr. Whiteside. He's quite something.
Go ahead, Bert. Mix the drinks.
On the fire. I was lucky to get even 2 minutes. He was down in the telephone booth most of the time.
Bert, mix those drinks, will you?
Okay. Couldn't hear from what he was saying, but from the faces he was making, it looked like a scene from one of his plays.
Bert, for goodness sake, will you?
Just a minute, if you please, Jefferson. Mr. Carlton was in a telephone booth at the station.
Certainly was. I thought he'd never come out. Kept talking and making the damnedest faces for about 5 minutes.
Bert, my boy, I have an idea that I shall love the Jefferson special. Make me a double one, will you? My headache has gone with the wind.
Okay.
Filio Vance is now at work. Hello? Operator, dear, has there been a call from England over this telephone within the past half hour? Yes, I'll wait.
Sherry, what is all this?
What's that? There have been no calls from England for the past 3 days? Thank you. Blossom Girl? Now, will you repeat that, please? Hear that, dear? Thank you, operator, and a very Merry Christmas.
Sherry, what is all this? What does this mean?
My dear, you've just been played the greatest love scene of your career with your old friend Beverly Carlton.
Why, that's not true. I was talking to Cedric. What do you mean?
I mean, my Blossom, that was Beverly you were pouring your girlish heart to, not Lord Bottomley. Ah, me. Who would have thought that 5 minutes ago that you'd not be going to London?
Sherry, I want this explained.
Explained? You heard the operator, my dear. All I can tell you is that Beverly was indulging in one of his famous bits of mimicry. That's all. You heard him do Lord Bottomley before, haven't you?
Yes, of course. But why would he want to do such a thing? This is one of the most dreadful... Oh my God, those tables. Give me the hotel, whatever it's called. I want the hotel. I'll pay him off if it's the last thing that I... Why, the skunk, the louse, the dirty, rotten mansion house connects me with the maid. What? Who the hell do you think it is? Miss Sheldon, of course. Oh God, those cables. If only Cosette hasn't... Cosette, did you send those cables? Oh God. Now listen to Cosette. I want you to send another cable to every one of those people and to tell them somebody has been using my name and to disregard anything and everything they hear from me, except this, of course. Don't ask questions. Do as you're told. Don't argue with me. God damn it, do as you're told. And unpack. We're not going.
Now take it steady, my Blossom. Take it easy.
What do you mean, take it easy? Do you realize I'll be the laughing stock of England? Why, I won't dare show my face. I always knew Beverly Carlton was low, but not this low. Why? It's not even funny. Why would he do it? That's what I'd like to know. Why would anyone in the world want to play a silly little trick like this? I can't understand it. Do you, Sherry? Do you, Maggie? You both saw him this afternoon. Why would he walk right out of here, go right to the phone booth, and try to ship me over to England on a fool's errand? There must have been some reason. There must have. It doesn't make sense otherwise. Why would Beverly Carlton or anybody else for that matter want me to? Oh. I think I begin to. Of course, that's it. Of course, that's it. Yes, and that's a very charming bracelet that Mr. Jefferson gave you, isn't it, Maggie, dear? Of course, it makes complete sense now. And to think that I nearly, well, wild horses couldn't get me out of here now, Maggie. And if I were you, I'd hang on to that bracelet, dear. It'll be something to remember him by.
All right, Mr. Whiteside. Almost time. Hook her up, boys. Start testing. Here's your new copy, Mr. Whiteside.
How much time?
A couple of minutes.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. How are we coming in, New York? A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D. Mary had a little lamb. Mary had a little lamb. Testing. Okay, New York. Mary had a little lamb. Waiting.
Here comes the Jefferson special. Oh, have we time?
Oh, I'm sure we have leaving after all. My plans are changed.
Oh, that's good.
And I hear you've written a simply marvelous play, Mr. Jefferson. I want you to read it to me tonight. Will you? We'll go back to the mansion house for dinner, and you'll read me your play.
Why, I should say so. I'd be delighted. Maggie, did you hear that? Say, I'll bet you did this. You arranged the whole thing. Well, it's the finest Christmas present you could have given me. Maggie? Maggie?
30 seconds. Waiting.
Mr. Whiteside,
Quiet, please.
my son has run off on a freighter and my daughter is marrying an anarchist.
Quiet.
They say you told them to do it.
My poor June, my poor Richard, this is the most awful.
Quiet, please. We're going on the air.
Oh, I see you're still busy.
Don't tell me to be quiet.
Quiet, for God's sake, quiet. Step out of the way, please.
Okay, New York.
Good evening, everybody. Cream of Mush brings you Sheridan Whiteside.
This is Whiteside speaking. On the eve of eves, when my own heart is overflowing with peace and kindness, I think it is most fitting to tell once again the story of that still and lustrous night, nigh unto 2,000 years ago, when the first star of Bethlehem was glimpsed in a wondrous sky. Miss Preen! Miss Preen!
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Where do you disappear to all the time, my lady Nausea?
Mr. Whiteside, I can only be in one place at a time.
That is very fortunate for this community.
Good morning, Mr. Whiteside. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, John. Merry Christmas.
Are you ready for breakfast, Mr. Whiteside?
No, I don't think I want any breakfast. Has Miss Cutler come down yet?
No, sir, not yet.
Is she in her room, do you know?
Yes, sir, she is. Shall I call her?
No, John. That's all.
Yes, sir.
Sherry, I'm taking the 1 o'clock train. I'm leaving.
You're doing nothing of the kind.
Here are your keys, your driver's license, key to the safe deposit vault is in the apartment in New York. I'll go in here now and clear things up.
Just a moment, Miss Siddons. Where were you until 3 o'clock this morning? I sat up half the night in the station wagon worrying about you. You heard me calling to you when you came in. Why didn't you answer?
Look, Sherry, it's over, and you've won, and I don't want to talk about it.
Oh, come. What are you trying to do? Make me feel like a naughty boy? Honestly, Maggie, sometimes you can be very annoying.
No, you're quite wonderful, Sherry, in a way. You're annoyed? I wish there was a laugh in me. Shall I tell you something, Sherry? I think you are selfish, petty, egomaniac who would see his mother burned at the stake if that was the only way he could light his cigarette. I think you sacrificed your own best friend without a moment's hesitation if you disturbed the sacred of your routine of your self-centered, paltry little life. I think you're incapable of any human emotion that goes higher up than your stomach, and I was the fool of the world for ever thinking I could trust you.
Well, as long as I live, I will never do a good turn for anyone again. I won't ask you to apologize, Maggie, because in 6 months from now, you'll be thanking me instead of berating me.
In 6 months, Sherry, I expect to be so far away from you.
Hello! Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry Christmas. I'm a little drunk, but I can explain everything. Hi, Maggie. Hi, Mr. Whiteside. Shake hands with a successful playwright. Maggie, Why'd you run away last night? Where were you? Miss Sheldon thinks the play is wonderful. I read her the play, and she thinks it's wonderful. Isn't that wonderful?
Yes, that's fine, Bert.
Isn't that wonderful, Mr. Whiteside?
Jefferson, I think you ought to go home, don't you?
What? No, biggest day of my life. I'm a little drunk, but this is a big day. We've been sitting over in Billy's Tavern all night. Never realized it was daylight till it was daylight. Listen, Maggie, Miss Sheldon says the play just needs a little bit of fixing. Do it in 3 weeks. She's going to take me out to a little place she's got in Lake Placid, just for 3 weeks. We're going to work on the play together. Isn't it wonderful? Why don't you say something, Maggie?
Look, Bert, I suggest you tell us all about this later. Now, why don't you...
Oh, excuse me. Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry Christmas.
God bless us all and Tiny Tim.
Yes. Mr. Whiteside, I thought perhaps if I came very early.
You know what, Doc? I'm going to Lake Placid for 3 weeks. Isn't that wonderful? Ever hear of Lorraine Sheldon, the famous actress? Well, we're going to Lake Placid for 3 weeks.
Dr. Bradley, would you do me a favor? I think Mr. Jefferson would like some black coffee and a little breakfast. Would you take care of him, please?
Yes, of course.
Dr. Bradley, I'm going to buy breakfast for you. Biggest breakfast you ever had.
Yes, Jefferson.
You know what, Doctor? Let's climb down a couple of chimneys. I got a friend that doesn't believe in Santa Claus. Let's climb down his chimney and frighten the hell out of him.
Now listen to me, Maggie. I'm willing to forgive your 20 outbursts and talk about this calmly.
I love him so terribly. Sherry, why did you do it? Why did you do it?
Merry Christmas, Mr. Whiteside.
Oh, Merry Christmas, Miss Stanley.
I'm afraid I shouldn't be seen talking to you, Mr. Whiteside. My brother is terribly angry. I just couldn't resist asking. Did you like my Christmas present?
I'm very sorry, Miss Stanley. I haven't opened it yet. I haven't opened any of my presents.
Oh dear, I was so anxious too. Why, it's right over here. Mr. Whiteside, won't you open it now?
I appreciate your thinking of me, Miss Stanley. This is very thoughtful of you. Why, it's lovely. I'm very fond of these old photographs. Thank you very much.
I was 22 when that was taken. That was my favorite dress. Do you really like it?
I do indeed. When I get back to town, I shall send you a little gift.
Will you? Oh, thank you, Mr. Whiteside. I shall treasure it. Well, I shall be late for church. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Goodbye, Miss Stanley.
Sarah's got a little surprise for you, Mr. Whiteside. She's just taking it out of the oven.
Thank you, John. Miss Prain! Miss Prain!
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Answer the door, will you? John is upstairs.
Who is it? Ah!
I love you madly. Madly, you hear me? Kiss me. Don't be afraid of my passion. Kiss me. I can feel the hot blood pounding through your varicose veins.
Let me go. Let me go. Do you hear? Don't you dare kiss me. Who are you? Let me go or I'll scream. Mr. Whiteside. Mr. Whiteside.
Banjo,
Hello,
for God's sake. Banjo!
Hello, Whiteside. Will you sign for this package, please?
Mr. Whiteside.
Banjo, let that woman go. That is my nurse, you mental delinquent.
Come to my room in half an hour and bring some rye bread.
Really, Mr. Whiteside?
Whiteside, I'm here to spend Christmas with you. Give me a kiss.
Get away from me, you reform school fugitive. How did you get in here anyway?
Daryl Zanuck loaned me his reindeer. Whiteside, we finished shooting the picture yesterday and I'm on my way to Nova Scotia. Flew here in 12 hours. Borrowed an airplane from Howard Hughes. Whiteside, I brought you a wonderful Christmas present. This this brassiere was once worn by Hedy Lamarr.
Listen, you idiot. How long can you stay?
Just long enough to take a bath. I'm on my way to Nova Scotia. Where's Maggie?
Nova Scotia? What are you going to Nova Scotia for?
I'm sick of Hollywood and there's a dame in New York I don't want to see, so I figured I'd go to Nova Scotia and get some smoked salmon. Where the hell's Maggie? I want to see her. What's the matter with you?
Banjo,
Where?
I'm very glad you're here. I'm very annoyed at Maggie. Very.
What's the matter? Say, what is this? I thought you couldn't walk.
Oh, I've been all right for weeks. This isn't the point. I'm furious at Maggie. She's turned on me like a viper. And you know how fond I am of her. Well, after all these years, she's repaying me and behaving like a fish hut wife.
What are you talking about?
But I never believed for a moment that she was really in love with him.
In love with who? I just got here, remember?
Great God, I'm telling you, you Hollywood nitwit, a young newspaperman here in the town.
Maggie finally fell. Well, what do you know? What kind of a guy is he?
Oh, shut up and listen, will you?
Well, go on. What happened?
Well, Lorraine happened to come out here and visit me.
Old Hot Pants here?
Now listen, this young fellow had written a play. You can guess the rest. He's going away with Lorraine this afternoon to rewrite. Maggie's in there now crying her eyes out.
Gee. Say, wait a minute. What do you mean Lorraine happened to come out here? I smell a rat, Sherry. A rat with a beard.
Well, all right. But I did it for Maggie. You know it was the right thing for her.
Oh, sure. You haven't thought of yourself in years. Gee, poor kid. Can I go in and talk to her?
No, leave her alone.
Any way I could help Sherry. Where's this guy live? This guy she likes. Can we get a hold of him?
Now wait a minute, Banjo. We don't want any phony warrants or you pretending to be J. Edgar Hoover. I've been through that with you all before. I've got Lorraine out here and I've got to get her away.
Gotta be good, Sherry. Lorraine's no dope. Now, there must be something that can get her out of here, like a bat out of hell. Say, I think I've got it. That fellow she's so crazy about over in England. What's his name again? Lord Danny or whatever it is? Bottomley. That's it, Bottomley.
No, Banjo, no.
Wait a minute. You don't catch on. We send Lorraine a cablegram from Lord Bottomley.
I catch on, Banjo. And Lorraine caught on too. It's been tried.
Oh, I told you she was no dope. Well, we've got a tough proposition on your hands.
The problem is there's so damn little time. Get out of my chair. Lorraine's taking him away with her this afternoon. Oh, damn. There must be a way out. The trouble is, I've done this job too well. Hell and damnation.
Stuck, huh?
In the words of one of our greatest lyric poets, you said it.
Yeah? Gee, I'm hungry. We'll think of something, Sherry. You watch. We'll get Lorraine out of here if I have to do it one piece at a time.
Merry Christmas. Excuse me. I've got something for you. But Mr. Whiteside, that was for you.
Never mind, Sarah. He's quite...
Come, Petrushka. We shall dance. We shall dance in the snow.
Mr. Whiteside. Mr. Whiteside.
Just give him some breakfast, Sarah. He's harmless.
Hey, Mom. Is it possible you could stop?
Just give him some breakfast, Sarah. He's harmless. And what does this mean?
It means, Mr. Whiteside, that I'm leaving. My address is on the desk inside. You can send me a check.
You realize, Miss Preen, that this is completely unprofessional.
I do indeed. I'm not only walking out on this case, Mr. Whiteside, but I'm leaving the nursing profession. I became a nurse because all my life, ever since I was a little girl, I was filled with the idea of serving a suffering humanity. After 1 month with you, Mr. Whiteside, I'm going to work in a munitions factory. From now on, anything that I can do to help exterminate the human race will fill me with the greatest of pleasure. If Florence Nightingale had ever nursed you, Mr. Whiteside, she would have married Jack the Ripper instead of founding the Red Cross. Good day.
Mr. Stanley is here with June. He's brought June back. Thank goodness, thank goodness. June, thank God you're back. You're not married, are you?
No, Mother, I'm not, and please don't be hysterical.
Oh, June, if it had been anyone but that awful boy, thank goodness you stopped it, Ernest. How did you do it?
Never mind, Daisy. Just take June upstairs. I have something to say to Mr. Whiteside.
What about Richard? Is there any news?
It's all right, Daisy. All under control. Just take June upstairs.
Father, haven't we had enough melodrama? I don't have to be taken upstairs. I'll go upstairs. Merry Christmas, Mr. Whiteside. It looks bad for John L. Lewis. Come on, Mother. Lock me in my room.
Now, June, you'll feel much better after you've had a hot bath. I know. Have you had anything to eat?
I am pleased to inform you, sir, that your plans for my daughter have gone a trifle awry. She is not, nor will she ever be, married to that labor agitator that you so kindly picked out for her. As for my son, he has been apprehended in Toledo and will be brought home within the hour. Not having your gift for invective, sir, I cannot tell you what I think of your obnoxious interference in my affairs, but I have now arranged that you'll interfere no longer. Come in, gentlemen. Mr. Whiteside, this gentleman is the deputy sheriff. He has a warrant by which I am enabled to put you out of this house, and I need hardly add, Mr. Whiteside, that it will be the greatest moment of my life. I am giving you 15 minutes, Mr. Whiteside, to pack up your stuff and get out. If you are not gone in 15 minutes, Mr. Whiteside, this gentleman will forcibly eject you. Thank you, gentlemen. Will you go outside, please? 15 minutes, Mr. Whiteside, and that means bag, baggage, wheelchair, penguins, octopus, and cockroaches. I am now going upstairs to smash our radio so that not even accidentally will I hear your voice again.
Sure you don't want my autograph, old fellow?
15 minutes, Mr. Whiteside.
Say, can she cook? Well, Whiteside, I didn't get an idea. Any news from the front?
It's no use, Banjo. She's taking the 1 o'clock train out.
Where'd you say Maggie was, in there? Say, can she cook? Well, Whiteside, I didn't get an idea. Any news from the front?
Yes, the enemy is at my rear and nibbling.
Where'd you say Maggie was, in there?
It's no use, Banjo. She's taking the 1 o'clock train out.
No kidding, you didn't tell me that. You mean she's quitting you after all these years? She's really leaving?
She is.
That means you've only got till 1 o'clock to do something.
No, dear, I have exactly 15 minutes. 14 minutes, in which to pull out of my hat the goddamnest rabbit you've ever seen.
What do you mean 15 minutes?
In exactly 15 minutes, baby's body is being tossed into the snow. Mine host has sworn out a warrant. I am being kicked out.
What? I never heard of such a thing. What would he do a thing like that for?
Never mind, never mind. The point is, I only have 15 minutes, Banjo dear. The master is growing a little desperate.
What about laying your cards on the table with Lorraine?
Now, Banjo, you know Dream Girl as well as I do. What do you think?
You're right.
Banjo, go in and talk to Maggie for a few minutes. Right in there. I need to think.
Say, if I knew where Lorraine was, I could get a car and run her over. It wouldn't hurt her much.
Please, Banjo, I've got to think.
Pardon me, miss. Is this the YMCA?
Is this your father?
No, you idiot. Hello, Mr. Whiteside. I didn't get very far. Any suggestions?
I'm very sorry, Richard. I'm very sorry indeed. I wish I were in a position.
Well, you're not in position. Thank you very much, officer. Here's a little something for your trouble.
Thank you, sir. Good day.
Will you go upstairs, please, Richard?
I brought you some orange juice, Mr. Whiteside. Feeling any better?
Superb, John. Any cyanide in this orange juice? Open the door, John.
Yes, sir.
It's probably some mustard gas from an old friend.
Hey, that crazy fellow made a great hit with Sarah. He wants to give her a screen test.
Good morning. Is Mr. Whiteside up yet?
Yes, he is, Mr. Sheldon. He's right here.
Merry Christmas, darling. Merry Christmas. I've come to have Christmas breakfast with you, my dear. May I?
Of course, Miss Bright. John, a tray for Miss Sheldon. Better make it 1-minute eggs.
Sherry, it's the most perfect Christmas morning. The snow's absolutely glistening. Too bad you can't get out.
Oh, I'll probably see a bit of it. I hear you're off to Lake Placid, my blossom.
Oh, Sherry, how did you know? Is Bert here?
No, he rolled in a little while ago. Worked rather fast, didn't you, dear?
Darling, I was just swept off my feet by the play. It's fantastically good. Sherry, it's the kind of part that only comes along once in 10 years. I'm so grateful to you, darling. Really, Sherry, sometimes I think you're the only friend I have in the world.
Thank you, dear. What time did you say we're leaving, you and Jefferson?
Oh, I don't know. I think it's 4 o'clock. You know, quite apart from everything else, Sherry, Bert is really an attractive man. It makes it rather a pleasure squaring accounts with little Miss Vitriol. In fact, it's all worked out beautifully. Sherry Lamb, I want to give you the most beautiful Christmas present you've ever had in your life. Now, what do you want? Anything. I'm so deliriously happy that sounds like Banjo. Is he here?
He is, my dear. Just the family circle gathering at Christmas. My, how time flies when you're having fun.
Why, hello, sweetie pants. How are you?
Very well, thank you. And you, Banjo?
Oh, I'm fine, fine. How's the mattress business, Lorraine?
Very funny. It's too bad, Banjo, that your pictures aren't as funny as you seem to think you are.
You've got me there, Mama. Say, you look in the pink, Lorraine. Anything in the wind, Whiteside?
Not a glimmer.
What time does the boat sail?
10 minutes.
What boat is this?
The good ship up the creek.
The good ship up the creek.
I've listed everything except the New Year's Eve broadcast. Isn't there a schedule on that?
I think it's on the table over there someplace.
Thank you.
New Year's Eve? Oh, Bert and I'll hear it in Lake Placid. You were at my cottage up there once, weren't you, Sherry? It's lovely, isn't it? Away from everything. Just snow, clear, cold night. Oh, that's probably Bert now. I told him to meet me here. You know, I'm looking forward to Lake Placid. Bert's the kind of man who will do all winter sports beautifully.
Yes, sir.
American Express?
All right, come ahead. Care now. Careful there. Right in here.
Why, Sherry, what's all this?
Careful there. Now swing your end. Where do you want this put?
Right there. It's for you, Mr. Whiteside.
Dear God, if there was one thing I needed right now, it was an Egyptian mummy.
Merry Christmas from the Khedive of Egypt. What did you send him, Grant's tomb?
5 minutes, Mr. Whiteside, including that.
Why, what was that all about? Who is that man?
He announces the time every few minutes. I pay him a small sum.
But what on earth for, Sherry?
I lost my watch.
Oh, excuse me, Mr. Whiteside. I see you're busy.
Good God.
Pardon me. I'll wait in here. I've written a new chapter on the left kidney.
Is that the plumber again, Sherry? Oh dear, I wonder where Bert is. Darling, you're not very Christmassy. You're usually bubbling over on Christmas morning. Who sent this to you, Sherry? The Khedive of Egypt? You know, I think it's rather beautiful. I must go to Egypt someday, I really must. I know I'd love it. The first time I went to Pompeii, I cried all night. All those people, all those lives, where are they now? Sherry, don't you ever think about that? I do. Here was a woman, like myself, a woman who once lived and loved, full of the same passions, fears, and jealousies, hates. And what remains any of it now? Just this and nothing more. A span of 4,000 years, a mere atom in the eternity of time. And here I am, another woman, living out her life. I want to cry. Oh, I mustn't talk this way today. It's Christmas, it's Christmas.
Lorraine, dear, have you ever played the part of St. Joan?
No, I haven't, Sherry. What makes you ask that?
There was something about your expression as you stood in that case. There was an absolute halo about you.
Why, Sherry, how sweet.
It transcended any moral expression that I've ever seen. Step into it again, dear.
Sherry, dear, you're joshing me, aren't you?
My dear, I don't make light of these things. I was deeply moved. There was a strange beauty about you, Lorraine. Pure Da Vinci. Please, do it again.
Well, I don't know exactly what it was that I did, but oh, I feel too silly, Sherry.
Lorraine, dear, in that single moment you approached the epitome of your art, and you should not be ashamed of it. You asked me a little while ago what I wanted for a Christmas present. All I want, Lorraine, is the memory of you in that mummy case.
Why, darling, I'm all choked up. Dust thou art, and dust to dust. Banjo!
Eureka!
There's service for you.
That didn't work.
Will she be all right?
Sure, she can breathe easy. I'll let her out as soon as we get on the plane. What are we going to do now? Say, how do we get this out of here?
One thing at a time. That's the next step.
Think fast, Captain. Think fast.
This is everything, Sherry. I'm leaving 3 cartons. Is there anything out there? Anything in the basket?
Nothing at all. Thank you. Thank you.
Should I file these letters? Do you want this picture?
No, throw everything away. Wait, give me that picture. I want the picture.
The only thing I haven't done is put all your broadcasts in order. Do you want me to do that?
What? Ah, yes. Do that. Right away. It's very important. Right away, Maggie.
I'll see you before I go, Banjo.
I've got it.
What?
I knew I'd seen this face before. Now I know how to get this out of here.
What face? How?
The time is up, Mr. Whiteside. 15 minutes.
Ah, yes, Mr. Stanley. 15 minutes. But just one favor before I go. I'd like you to summon those 2 officers and ask them to help bring out this mummy case to the airport. Would you be good enough to do that, Mr. Stanley?
I will do nothing of the kind.
Oh, I think you will, Mr. Stanley. Or shall I inform my radio audience on the next broadcast that your sister, Harriet Stanley, is none other than the famous Harriet Sedley, who murdered her mother and father with an axe 25 years ago in Gloucester, Massachusetts. Come, Mr. Stanley, it's a very small favor. Or would you rather have the good folk of Cecilia repeating at your very doorstep the once very popular jingle? Harriet Sedley took an axe and gave her mother 40 whacks, and when the job was nicely done, she gave her father 41. Remember, Mr. Stanley, I too am giving up something. It would make a hell of a broadcast. Well?
Mr. Whiteside, you are the damnedest man I've ever met.
You're a little late in finding that out. Officers, will you come in here, please?
Whiteside, you're a great man.
Come right in, officers. Mr. Stanley would like you to help this gentleman down to the airport with this mummy case. He's sending it to a friend in Nova Scotia. Right, Miss Stanley, Mr. Stanley?
Yes, send it away.
Thank you, gentlemen. Handle it carefully. Banjo, my love, you're wonderful, and I may write a book about you.
Don't bother, I can't read. Goodbye, Maggie. Love conquers all. Don't drop that case, boys. It contains an antique.
Sherry, was that?
It was indeed. Oh, a little Christmas present for you.
Sherry, you old bean. You don't have to wait.
Just send me a necktie sometime. My hat and coat, Maggie. I'm leaving for New York.
You're leaving, Sherry?
Don't argue, rat girl. Do as you're told.
Yes, Mr. Whiteside.
Mr. Whiteside, I want to apologize. Say!
Don't give it a thought, Bert. There's been a slight change of plan. Miss Sheldon is off on a world cruise, and I am taking your play to Catherine Cornell. Miss Cutler will explain everything.
Maggie.
Thank you, Maggie, my darling.
Mr. Whiteside, are you very busy?
Ah, yes, Doctor. Very busy. But if you ever get to New York, Doctor, try and find me. Goodbye, my lamb. I love you very much.
Sherry, you're wonderful.
Nonsense. Goodbye, Jefferson. You'll never know the trouble you've caused.
Goodbye, Mr. Whiteside.
Goodbye, Mr. Stanley. I would like to hear in the near future that your daughter has married her young man, or that your son has been permitted to follow his own bent. Or else. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Maggie, for God's sake, what is all this? Where is he going? I didn't know he could walk even.
It's all right, Bert. You're too young to know. Just don't ask questions.
Ernest, Richard's being very difficult. You'll have to talk to him.
Ow! God damn it!
Bert, doctor!
Something's happened.
What's the matter? What's wrong?
Has something happened? What is it?
Oh dear, oh dear.
Miss Preen! Miss Preen! I want Miss Preen back.
Sherry, oh my poor Sherry.
What's the matter? What is it? Oh dear.
Bring that chair right over. Bring that chair.
Mother!
That's all right, Mr. Whiteside. Just relax.
What's the matter, Mother?
No!
All right! Woohoo!
Yeah.
Yeah!